episode of the Brandon Beeyard Show. This summer, we're doing a little something special. We're calling it Free as Can Be because this is the summer where I document week to week how I rebuild my life and really my career from my parents' house in the Florida Panhandle. That's right. That's where we are at. Free as Starbucks on your birthday. That's about all I got for you. So, Boomer Summer continues, living with the Boomers. Not a lot happening this week on the Boomer front. Things have kind of quieted down. We're settling in to that long, deep, dark, hottest, most humid part of the summer here. I had to, not a lot. I had to fix a TV remote. I had to fix a Roku remote yesterday. And I'm not going to lie to you. The Roku remote has beaten me thus far. It's 0-1 remote. Uh, Took the L, tried to pair it to a different Roku device from another Roku device. Not doing good. Not feeling good about my skills as a technician for the Boomer household. But thankfully, no falls this week, no near falls. The brittle cookie bones are sticking, I don't know, staying in shape, staying where they are, thank God. So, we got this though. Let me give you an update on what's happened this week. We got a Fox News alert here. Jellyfish attack on Pensacola Beach this weekend. Victim right here, me. I went out to the beach. Look, this always happens in the late part of the summer here. There's always a lot of jellyfish. So I've been watching the flags. There have been purple flags out at the beach for a couple of weeks now. Purple flag means dangerous marine life. Usually that means jellyfish. Now, they should really there should be like a different flag for sharks versus jellyfish because I feel like I'd want to know the difference there because that's really it, right? Those are the only two dangerous marine life things you're going to be dealing with. It was jellyfish. Anyway, there was a beautiful day last Sunday. No purple flag. Let's go. Go to the beach, get out in the water, get out. I'm going to go be one with the ocean, float, enjoy, let my mind drift. So I get out there. I'm floating in the surf. I'm enjoying it. Starting to feel little tings, little stings here and there over my body. And I know this is normal. You know, I figure that jellyfish out in the ocean miles offshore have been broken up in the surf and little pieces are stinging you. I wish I had taken that one little warning there and just gotten out of the water for good, but no, I didn't. I got out and I said, no, I need to get back in. The little stings were bothering me. I need to get back in one more time and enjoy it. Those stings are nature telling you, all right, see what happens. And that's exactly what happened. I went back into the water. All of a sudden, started getting a really good sting on my scrotum. If you've ever worn a lined swimsuit in the ocean, you can't help but get little jellyfish pieces in. I don't know how. I mean, the liner is tight. You get them in there, that's where they like to get caught. Your scrotum starts burning. I should have taken that as the sign to get out of the water. I didn't. And then not 30 seconds later, just stung from shoulder to shoulder. I felt the jellyfish tentacles wrap around my arm. I've been stung so many times in my life. Never have I felt the tentacles over my arm. And I just stood there and I was like, oh, this is going to be so bad real quick. So I scamper out of the water, trying to play it cool. Like I'm walking on hot coals, though. Like, ha 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 ha. Oh, had to just walk it off for like 45 minutes. It stung too bad to sit there, and take it. Couldn't even drive home because that would be more sitting Anyway, why like the lesson is the tingle, the spidey sense was trying to tell me, "Get out of the water, stupid." And I went back in the water, and that's what I just got, a nice wraparound tentacle. I've never seen jellyfish that have long, long tentacles like that before. This bastard was not messing around. Jellyfish are like the worst things. And here's where I'm going with this. Why do we allow them to live? Why is it that we've got this beach that's one of the best things in the universe, and then we've got the worst things right there in it, jellyfish? I don't understand it. They are the worst. They're up there with cancer and rattlesnakes and paying $200 for a dental exam. I hate them. Jellyfish and mosquitoes have no redeeming value in the world. They got to go. What are we doing? What are we doing? Allowing them to live. Ah, so ruined my peaceful day in the ocean. That's all right. Other than that, dating front, not a lot going on here in Pensacola. It'd be one thing if I was in my 20s and I could just go out to the bar and just pound a bunch of drinks and talk to girls that are that same age. I don't want to do that. Going out to a bar and pounding a bunch of drinks now and loud, it's crowded. It sounds like hell. It sounds like hell. I don't want to do it, especially alone. It's creepy. If you do it, it's a little creepy doing it alone, especially if you're in your 40s alone. Thankfully, I don't want anything to do with that scene. Uh, it'd be better if I was back in Austin. At least there's a lot of people who are in their like 30s and 40s who are single. Slim pickings here in Pensacola. The dating apps not working. I'm going to be honest. I do not present well on paper. You know, I'm a hard sell on these apps. I'm in my 40s. I'm well, no, I don't tell them about my financial situation at the moment. That makes it harder though. Uh 5'8", the age, the height, not great. I know that. But come on. I mean, in context, I get the job done. I can sell myself, you know? I'm funny, not on this show, obviously. I've done the work on myself. I, you know, can keep a conversation going. I've kept myself in shape. You know, I can do it in context, but out of context, it's a hard sell. Not any better when you're living at home in the Florida Panhandle. Oh man, what a week! Two more things to tell you about. I got to tell you about my latest battle with Apple, and I have to tell you about some confusion I'm having around money, and I think this might relate to something that you've possibly dealt with in the past or right now. We can talk. We're going to talk about that. It's hot here at the Tiki Bar. The sun is setting, but the air is humid. There's no wind, as you can see. Those drinks are part of the background, so I can't actually drink them right now. I know, shocker. So, my ongoing troubles with Apple continue. And Apple has firmly run. They have won by screwing me hard. I mean, I have spent thousands, probably over $10,000 in Apple equipment in my life. And Apple repays me by destroying my phone number. They destroyed my phone number. I have to get a new phone number now, thanks to Apple. Here's what happened. And if you're someone who's trying to build a business or do some cold outreach or outreach in your business in general, listen up because this could happen to you just as easily as it happened to me. So I decided to do some outreach for my business, contacted a few people. I probably only got like, you know, we're talking about 15 people maybe that replied to me. It wasn't a lot. I watched this video. I'm going to stop over emphasizing things. Getting animated. I watched this video from Chris Kerner of the Kerner office where he suggested this method. Then I just did play by play what he did. And it was basically using this program to, you can just text people rapidly from your phone on iMessage. Okay. I never thought that it would result in my phone getting blocked. And here's what happens it only takes, from what I've learned, a few people, maybe just a couple people, to hit that little thing on the text that says report as spam, and Apple shuts you down. No questions asked. They shut down your iMessage. What do they care? Number one, you know, I guess nobody likes spam. It should be up to like Verizon to be the judge of all of this. But Apple decides to do it. So a couple people marked me as spam. iMessage gets shut down. Oh shit. This isn't good. So I restart. I call them, I figure out what's going on. I fill out a form to get my iMessage restored. Lesson learned, I'm not doing it again. A week later, iMessage gets shut down again. I didn't do anything. I don't know what happened. Maybe somebody else marked me as spam, but then didn't check it for a week. So that's when the long shutdown started. And that was 3 weeks ago. I have called Apple. I have resubmitted a request to get my iMessage reinstated, telling them, look, I'm not doing anything here. I'm not doing any spam. I'm doing personal text. I don't know why this got shut down again. Crickets, crickets, crickets. I call someone. I talk to their senior advisor. He even says to me, he's like, yeah, this is kind of bullshit. I requested again after that. No, no, no dice. Apparently, there is a clandestine unit inside of Apple that controls iMessage and shuts you down and controls whether they want you to have your iMessage again. That's the department you have to petition. And I'm told it's not AI, it's actual people. Well, these are like the misfits of Apple. I think these are the people that they put in the annex or in the basement office that nobody wants to deal with because I don't know what I did was so wrong. Like I get it, lesson learned. They still won't. They still won't give me my phone number back. There's no clear warning. There's no clear system. There's no like, all right, strike one, you get one more strike and you're out kind of thing. No, it just gets shut down with no explanation. I've had this phone number for like 25 years. And now you're talking to me on the last day. I'm probably going to have this phone number. I'm going to have to go get a new one now. I've run out of options. I've done everything I possibly could to no response, no avail. Like this is just wrong. You spend thousands of dollars on to be in Apple's ecosystem and they just fuck you. They fuck you hard. That's what they do. With no explanation. No, like, do this and you'll be fine. Do it again and you're screwed. No, none of that. That's it. They don't care. They don't care. So, if you want to screw somebody's life up, hit the little spam button on the iMessage. A couple people do that. It shuts them down. They don't know what's going on. It messes people up. It is wrong. There's no process here. You're at the whim of someone who lives in a basement in the Apple campus, probably playing video games, earning a paycheck, not doing anything, but screwing up other people's lives. Thanks a lot. Okay. Ugh. This is what's so hard about this. I come home for the summer. I'm trying to start a business. I do some business outreach. Okay. I get a little slap on the wrist. I learn my lesson. But of course, Apple can't leave it there. They've got to really salt up the wound. And so they just shut down my phone, basically. Can't use iMessage. There's no point in having a freaking phone. People think you're a poor Android person. So, my first earnest attempt at starting a business, I didn't know I was running afoul of anything here. I was trying to keep it reasonable. Uh, I lose my phone number. How discouraging is that? I come back home to restart my career and my business. I do some business outreach, and the first time it happens, I lose my phone number. Are you freaking kidding me? It's ridiculous. But we are true freedom seekers. We are true entrepreneurs. I'm not giving up. I'm not going to do that again. But you got to keep going. Shit happens. I lost the phone number I've had literally my whole life. Great. All right. Quick water break. So, I want to talk about money. What to do when money's tight? How do you handle like being on a runway? Maybe you're on savings right now. You're trying to start a business. You have a limited amount of time to do it. The pressure is building. You could feel that fire under your feet. What do you do? How do you handle that? And I hit a point this week. I started realizing, all right, what have I really done this summer? Cuz I am way behind of my income and business goals. But it's okay because what I've realized is I got a little bit of ahead of myself. I came back home and for the past month plus, I have been doing this show. Clearly not winning any awards here, but I have decided to make this a priority again. And I haven't in a really long time. I'm doing it consistently. Sometimes better than others. Sometimes you can tell when I didn't want to be here, didn't want to be doing a show, but no, I'm doing it every week. And it has been really like liberating and fulfilling, even though it's been challenging to do this every week and to make this the priority in my life again. So I'm happy with that. And I'm putting this first and I'm trying not to let other things get in the way, which is what I've done so much of in the past. But time goes on and I'm doing other things, trying to build more of a business around this like show ecosystem, helping other people launch shows, helping other people make strategic decisions in their own business, things I have like a skill set on. But the longer you go on not making money, the more stressful it is. I know that. And I was okay with it because I really did understand that, like in the past, this summer, when I felt the pressure, I just knew like my higher self was saying, it's okay. Do this, make this the priority. It's going to be all right. And that works for a little while. But then when you're not making income, and this is the biggest mistake I think people make, myself included, is like starting something new and uncertain and like where there's a lot of resistance around it while you don't have income is hard. And you definitely shouldn't put income pressure on that thing you're starting right away because that just puts undue pressure on it and it makes it not fun. But Every week that goes by, you're like, well, like, when is the money going to come in? What am I going to do? And at some point, you just hit a wall, and you just can't deal with that pressure anymore. And I hit one of those walls earlier this week for sure, where I just, I'm like, I just am got so frustrated with constantly always having to reassess what you're spending money on. Uh, how long is this going to continue? The constant just baseline level of stress that's going on. And so I didn't know what to do. And I'm going to kind of talk this out right now and treat myself as I would if somebody came to me and asked me, like, for advice and they're in this situation, what I would tell them. Because I get it. It's tough. And so I would say this, there's two things. There's two components of this. One is your mind. At the end of the day, and this is like a very Buddhist thing, very Eckhart Tolle thing to say, but the mind is creating the suffering. The way your mind is responding to events in your life or just the thought patterns that it's creating are causing the suffering. Because if you take that away right now, today, in this moment, are you in danger? Is anything bad happening? Probably not. You're creating the suffering because you're projecting out this runway that is going to end at some point. And you're envisioning this doom that may never come. One thing that I've definitely learned, especially if you're just resourceful like I am, there is no zero. There are always ways you can buy more time. They get increasingly expensive if you're living like in debt, but there are always ways. If something is important enough, you'll find the time to do it. And that's good, but like I said, that can be expensive. And it can also create like literally expensive, but mentally expensive too, in all the ways I just said. So the first like thing you have to think about is your mind. Is your mind, is reality really this bad, or is your mind freaking out when it doesn't really need to? Because it's a lot easier to to like change your thought. Well, it's not easier to change your brain, but it's a lot easier to examine thought patterns and change those than it is to change reality. Reality takes a little bit longer. So, ooh, getting some weird background stuff here. And then there's reality. So, one way you could do it is just, okay, well, I'm just going to tell myself, I'm just going to fix the thoughts. Maybe things really aren't that bad. But you have to acknowledge that there is some thing in reality that is causing that stress, and that is your money. You start bringing in income, you're going to feel better about it. So, there's a tension though, because especially I'll put it in my terms, my whole life I have put my calling, the thing I've most wanted to do, as a secondary thing when I've had a job. And I put it secondary when I was trying to build a business. And so at some point it's just got to come first. What do you do? How do you ensure you're not going to take a job and then make it deprioritize the thing that matters most to you in your actual career in the long run? Well, you and I'll just answer for myself. So I think the answer is to remove the thoughts and fix reality. I think you don't abandon what you've been working on. You know, the thing that you've made so many sacrifices on, don't give up, but also acknowledge You've got to make money. And changing that will also make the mindset stuff a lot easier. Sorry, there's a freaking dog barking outside. So I hit a point where I just said, I am done with this. And what I came to the best I can figure, and I'm still figuring this out, is that I have to examine the thoughts and fix the reality of the situation. And I'll let you know how that goes because I still don't have it figured out. It's really hard having stress around money. And it's really hard like starting something and exposing yourself like this, not in the creepy way, but in the vulnerable doing something that matters to you way and trying to reconcile the two. What becomes the priority when, you know? So if you don't have income and you're in that situation, I would say you find income that's going to work. That's that's not going to make you uh deprioritize the thing that matters most. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's part-time. Maybe it is self-employed if you have that skill already and you're able to do it. Or maybe it's a remote job. Those are all options. So so it's both. It's and as we're wrapping up here, I'll just say, you got to ask yourself these questions. When I'm having thoughts and persistent thought patterns that are like really bothering me, are they accurate? Is this reality or am I overreacting? Is the suffering actually coming from my own thoughts and things will probably be okay? Or is my suffering coming from an actual situation that needs to change? In other words, is the thought a problem or is reality a problem? Address the thoughts first. And even if, we have like you get into a groove where you have these same thought patterns over and over again for years, it's going to take a while to reverse them. That's okay because once those scripts are going to run, but once you've identified them, that these are the things that are making you suffer somewhat, you can bring awareness to those thoughts when you have them. And it makes it a little easier. And then over time, they change. So that's what I would say in that situation. So if you're if in a tight money spot, what thoughts are triggering you? Are they accurate? What actually would a good outcome look like? And then go look for it and have a little faith and trust because sometimes the answer comes just a little longer than you expected it. It takes just a little longer than you needed it to or expected it to, but it comes. So that's what I would say to you. I hope that was helpful. This has been another episode of the Brandon Beeyard Show. We will be back next time for another episode right here from the Tiki Bar in the Florida Panhandle. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time.